There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Hello everybody, it's Hipocalypse here. A lot of people have been asking about my build when I run within Gw2 and such, and one of my guildies actually was surprised because I don't run with PTV, which in Jade Quarry a lot of us like to use PTV armor, so my health pool is pretty low, but my armor rating and my dodging that I do usually is what keeps my survivability high. So to begin with, I'm going to start with the stats that I use, or traits I mean. Okay, so for traits, I go with 30 wilderness survival for my toughness to be increased, and mainly for the trait bonuses that it gives me. So increasing your endurance regeneration by 50%, this is a big factor. It's ridiculously important because a lot of the time I'm going to be dodging and staying out of those AoE circles. I use my build primarily for Gw2, but just swapping her around and messing around with some stats, and I use it for different things as well. Expertise training as well. Pets deal extra condition damage. Now pets for this build I'll get into later, but they're going to cause bleeding on critical hits, so the condition is another big bonus for that. Now you and your pet gain 2 seconds of protection when you dodge roll. Again, dodging, so you miss an attack, then you take 33% less damage from your next attack, is a really good thing. It's actually really saved my ass a few times, and I just love that I could just dodge roll and gain protection, especially for this build, because like that being just a minor trait, it's still pretty helpful. Gain regeneration for 5 seconds when you suffer from bleeding, poison, or burning. This can only trigger once every 20 seconds. Now regeneration is the main point of my build. It's mainly what I like to use. So the regeneration is like really helpful because it's all based around regeneration, such as this grants health regeneration to you and your pet. This will give regeneration, which Healing Spring in my opinion is one of the best healing skills across all classes. Next I have deal 10% damage when your health is above 90%. I guess that's just like, that's a nice bonus to have, but it's not directly in line with the traits, but the two of the minors are really helpful. And then this one's just like a nice extra bonus. Pets periodically take conditions from you, along with being able to heal consistently with this build. Condition removal is also a big thing. Now again, to the Healing Spring, it'll heal conditions for you, this will heal conditions for you, and your pets will heal conditions from you. That is another big factor towards this, and again, saved my ass many times because going against a Necromancer in a duel, which are usually the hardest for me, becomes a cakewalk with this build from time to time, depending on how good they are. So far I've only lost, I believe, 2 duels, one-on-ones, and that includes roaming around in Gw2 and PvP, but the 2 players that I fought, one was a thief and one was an engineer, and frankly for an engineer, when I play an engineer, that's usually the class that gives me the biggest difficulty, so I've been trying to find engineers to duel more often because, well, I like to practice on them, kind of learn what they do, try and figure it out, pick it apart. On to the next trait set, we have 10 nature magic. Now, one thing that I was told is you don't choose these for these stats here, such as like just right here, like the vitality and such, but you choose it for the traits that it gives you. So that's why I didn't stack up on like healing, or not healing, but vitality, and that's why I'm not like a big health pool. But continuing along, you gain regeneration when your health reaches 75%. So that's another regeneration, and then where was that? And then regeneration. So that with mango pie, so you're basically regenerating health continuously. Now, on to the next set. Oh, wait, I skipped one. Regeneration you apply lasts 33% longer. So right now this is just like I said, built around the regenerations, and it's a high survivability class or build. Next, I have Beast Mastery. I have that statted to 30, and another big important factor is going to be your pets, because, well, in some of the duels that I faced, I give people the option: do you want to face just my pet? And sometimes my pet will beat them. So not only do I have high survivability, I have my pet as like a little meat shield in front of me that also is really tanky as well. Now, to begin, when you are down, your pet gains quickness for 5 seconds, 50 seconds cooldown. It's a nice minor trait to have, but I mean, again, it's just a minor. Mighty swap. Pets gain 3 stacks of might when they are activated. Now, in Jade Quarry, it's all about stacking might, and in Tier 1, it's all stacking might. So this is really helpful. I mean, I'd really like me to get that three stacks of might as well. But my pet to have it and being powerful enough, I'll take that for what it's worth. Next we have Loud Whistle. Pet swapping recharges 20% faster. That is really helpful, because usually what I'll do is I'll use the pet special, and then I'll swap over to the next pet. And again, I'll get into what pets I'm using as well. Drake, Feline, Devourer, and Shark pets bleed on critical hit with their basic attacks. So just as I said, I believe it was here. Pets deal extra condition damage. So on critical hits, they'll cause bleed on critical hits. And cats is what I run with, because cats tend to cause more bleed. The Lynx deals a lot of bleed. I mean, this attack right here is bleed. And one thing that I didn't get into is that this build is based around a lot of conditions as well. So you're not going to get kills done quickly, but you will most likely outlast them in a fight. I mean, I've had fights with Guardians that have dragged down forever because they could keep popping those heals every time they get down. But I mean, they keep dropping a slight percentage more each time, and eventually they're just wasted out, and then just down out of the game. Okay, on to the next part. 10% of healing is given as a bonus to power. So I mean, that's a nice trait to have. Get like another rounding, like round more stats a little bit. Give a little bit more power, but I mean, I'm not based around power, so it's no big like whoopee for that, but I'll take it for its worth again. Your pets have natural health regeneration. Again, even more regeneration, even though it's for my pet, but my pet, again, as a ranger, your pet is an extension of you. It's still part of your character, and you don't want you to have just like a pet that can run into the middle of a zerg, die, and come back, because did that really do anything? I mean, it distracted them for a second, but if your pet can go into the middle of a zerg and drop somebody to half health before coming back, it's going to be a real big help. So the regeneration on your pet is a real big help. Next, I will move into my skills. Hold up, I'll go into my gear first. Okay, so the gear I use, again, like I said, a lot of people really are fanatics for PTV in Jade Quarry, and I started to go for it, and I honestly felt like that was just dragging me down. It really didn't help me at all with what I was going for. So what I decided to go with from the beginning is Apothecaries, which is toughness, which that's really a huge help for me. So, you know, being able to, take less damage from hits, healing power, and one interesting thing that I found out from healing power is that your regenerations are also affected by healing power. And I did not know that at first. I was told that, like people have told me, oh, it has nothing to do with that, when actually it does. I looked it up on the wiki and everything just because I was curious one day, because I was just thinking, well, that kind of sounds like bullshit if healing power is just a trash skill. But popping on, it's actually surprisingly, like, I feel like this armor, the Apothecary's armor, is like a hidden gem that not many people will use, but it could really be helpful. Moving on, we have the condition damage part of it. And the condition damage is really helpful because, again, condition damage based around, like this build's based around conditions, again with the cats causing bleeds and everything. And the runes I use are the runes of Gw2. The runes of Gw2 give me 25 healing, plus 20% regeneration duration healing. So again, a bunch of healing and a bunch of, again, towards the bottom, like 6, another regeneration. So again, regeneration. By now people are probably like, holy shit, can this kid get enough regeneration? This is really fucking annoying. But I never said you have to use this build, but this build is really, I really love it. It's what works best for me. You could try it out. I wouldn't be pissed at all if you tried it out. It's open to everybody. I just really enjoy this build, and it's for everybody to enjoy. And if it doesn't work for you, I'm not gonna be pissed. If you don't like it and you want to just like chew me out for it, that's cool. But it works for me, so that's enough for me to be happy at the end of the day. Moving on, my weapons, again, I really didn't notice if I changed them or not. I wasn't really sure, because I know this is still Berserker from my old build. But toughness, healing power, and condition damage on both of these, which are, I usually don't use my offhand, which is a longbow, just because they buffed it a bit, but I'm not really a big fan of longbow or any of the bows as a ranger anymore. But I go with axe, dagger, and the sigils I use is Superior Sigil of Life, so gain plus 10 healing each time you kill a foe, max 25 stacks, so 250 healing is the max you can get. And again, your healing power goes way up. Or not health, that's healing power goes way up. Health, or healing power, again, is what this build is for. Next, I was extremely happy when I found out about this. The Superior Sigil of Ice. Now, the Superior Sigil of Ice causes 30% chance on critical hit to inflict chill for 2 seconds. Now, I like to sometimes just like, if people are running and you get hit a critical and this just so happens to help or pop on, that's a big help. You got 2 seconds of that, you got 2 seconds or 3 seconds of this, you can cripple them as well for 6 more seconds, and just a bunch of slowdowns. Now, I'm not fully done. These were from, I think these were just crap loot or something that I got, so I'm not even going to bother showing what these are. But this is really cost on cost. Power, toughness, vitality, I went with PTV on that, because I decided, I'm going to go with PTV for this stuff. But this one I bought early on because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to jack up my build at all. So Just kind of wanted to see what I could play around with. And this is really helpful for me in case this build goes to complete shit. I could easily swap this out. It's one piece that's saved, and I mean, PTV is not like a downbringer at all. But this is probably my favorite piece of my armor altogether. Precision, yeah, that's whatever to me. I really don't care. Toughness, big bonus. I love toughness again. Vitality, a little bit more health. That's a big help as well. And then a big bonus to condition damage. And again, this is based around conditions, pets, healing, and armor. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to show you what the skills do with Axe Dagger, Axe Main Hand. So you got this, Ricochet, good for crowd control, bounces between targets. It only hits 3 targets, but I mean, if you hit tab and you're going for badge farming, you just keep tabbing and tagging. It's what I used to do with my short bow when I was trying to get a bunch of badges. But I mean, Ricochet really is helpful though. So moving along, we have Split Blade. Again, it could hit multiple targets as well, but it causes bleeding, which is my favorite part of it. More bleeds. We have Winter's Bite. So this is the chilled skill that I showed earlier. We can inflict poison, which will jack up their healing. Yeah. Then we have Crippling Talon, which will cripple them and bleed them. So basically, when I explain this to people, this is how I show the way the combos work and how this this setup will work. Yeah, which you know when at little Mr. Professor Sigil giving me lip, switch you out. Jelly Von Stinkle. So the the combos that I go with. So let's say you want to slow down a target that's running away. Again, you have your 30% chance to inflict chilled. But you inflict chilled here, slow them down a little bit, and then cripple them as well. Let's say you want to jack up their skill, recharge, and their health. You got poison here, and you got chilled here. It's a big help. Believe me, like when you're in duel, like when you're dueling people, this skill, just like a little bit, if you can time it perfectly right before they're about to heal, usually when they're at about, you know, about 3/4, a little bit less, that's usually when I'll time it. And with Guardians, this skill is what's gonna kill them, pretty much. Give them that little boost down each time. So moving along, crowd control skills, you got these two. Then I believe there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, bleeds. You got this, and you got this. Okay, so pets. Again, I showed you this little guy, Professor Sugaboo. He's got his bleed leap, plus his criticals cause bleeding, and I believe Lynx is one of the more powerful pets to use. And then another cat, Jaguar. This is actually one of my favorites, Shelly Von Stinkle here. He gains stealth, and I've noticed with this, usually when he's stealthed, he causes mostly critical hits. So that's mostly more bleed stacks while he's stealthed. And it's a big help. Especially like this little tough guy here is a really good cat. Okay, so on to my utility skills. I'll start with healing. Again, like I said, this is one of my favorite healing skills across each character. I have every character there is, and like every class. Not all of them 80, nope, but still. From what I've seen, Healing Spring is the way to go. It has the highest initial burst for a ranger, and usually that's what I look for. It gives you regeneration as well, plus it regens allies as well. I just lost my train of thought. It also cures conditions for you. So sometimes I will have full health and just notice that I have like 3 conditions that are about to eat me away, and I'll just pop that on. And this will end up saving me. I don't really have to worry about certain timings of certain skills. Like this, sometimes I don't want to pop that on right away, but sometimes is a lifesaver to get rid of those conditions quickly. But then again, my pet heals conditions, and then this will heal conditions for me. Moving on, regeneration. I don't ever activate this. This is a must-have, and this is a must-have from like the way I run this build. So it grants you health regeneration to you and your pet. Again, pet's more tanky. Like more is natural health regeneration, plus has this health regeneration. Plus you have a bunch of regeneration, so everybody has a regeneration. There's a regeneration fucking party going on. That's that. Fucking balloons everywhere and shit. Moving on. We got you cure conditions every 10 seconds. Oh, I didn't even notice that because I never use it. Usually I just leave it on. Your pet pulls all conditions from nearby allies to itself. So that could also be helpful, especially in zerg on zerg, because got those necros using epidemic and such. Just pop that on, your pet will tank it out. Believe me, these pets can tank it out. Moving on, we got this speed. Nothing really special, just catching up to commanders and stuff when you run in and you're roaming. I usually don't like this. I've been trying to find an alternative to this, but there's really not like that I could think of. I really don't like my old build I loved. I've tried this and I always end up using split blade or this, so then I feel like one of the blades gets cancelled out. So I tend to stay away from that because I already got my bleeds and such. But this, like I used to love this with the Vigor and the initial evade, but I feel like it's just not as good anymore, and I've kind of grown not to rely on it anymore. When I was a berserker, I was really good at dodging, and it taught me to dodge better. So like having this in here as an extra dodge when I needed it, it was a must-have for my berserker build. But this, I could take a shit ton more damage and not have to worry about dodging as much, although still these two little bars are lifesavers. Oh, and then you also can, like usually when I enter a fight, I've been trying to get into the habit of activating this so your pet's next attack deals more damage, just like as a small little bonus, because when I'm in a fight I'm not going to need to run around fast. I mean, and like with me, I'll run straight up to the players where they're in melee range, because like I play ranger wrong. I go up close, I'm up closer. Next is my favorite elite skill is this, immobilize and bleeding and entangle. Entangle is a beautiful skill. You don't have to use it when I'm roaming doing map completion. I'll pop this on. Sometimes I'll use this when I'm doing a dungeon and people are wiping. For the recent event, the Queen's Jubilee, I was popping this on a few times to beat some of the levels. I actually used this too, which I'm not a big fan of, but it helped a ton for one of them. So that sums up my build. And honestly, again, you don't have to use it. I'm not saying you have to use it. I'm not saying it's the best build in the world. There's a lot of flaws in it, probably. And honestly, it's just a build that works for me. And if anything, I'm not saying use this build. I'm just saying, like, find a build that works for you. I mean, we got, like, this skilly right here, Toro. He makes a bunch of his own builds, and, like, he has a great time. He makes a bunch of really good builds that will just, like, he is like one of the toughest fights I've had with him. When I first made this build, we fought multiple times and he couldn't beat me, and now he knows how I play, and he'll often be like, hey, do you want a duel? And now I'm just like, you know what, no, because I feel like you already know everything I'm gonna do, because I also really like told him what the build I'm doing. And like this build, it's not entirely mine. I used part of it from this guy from my old server in Aerodon Terrace. Chris Amaru talked to me, and like I asked him a bunch of stuff about the build, and then I would be like, okay, I'm gonna swap this out, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna swap that out, and he's like, oh, that's cool, like it's just run your own build. And so like tweaking builds to your like comfort zone, or even going out of your comfort zone, just tweaking things, see how you like them. It's always fun. And that's how I roll with this shit. And to get my guild's name up there, we are Ain't No Grave, keep my body down. I am the leader of Live. And we like to roll versus world, and hopefully you guys can see more of our videos popping up and enjoy them. I mean, we got one of our guildies, Jordan, just got like a really badass video up of him kicking ass and beating the Queen's Jubilee gauntlet thing that's going on. And we got a lot of videos coming up, I believe. We're going to start filming more. We're going to start running Havoc squads, and you guys are going to enjoy this shit. And that's all I got to say for today. Everybody have a nice